Hello, friends, and welcome to the 189th rendition of the Section YY8 podcast. We want to thank the patrons for filing in at a swift but respectful manner, no running. Welcome yourself to a pimento cheese sandwich. Smell the azaleas. Take it all in.
It's beautiful. It's a splendid day.
It's the best weekend of the year.
Splendid.
It's the best weekend of the year. Uh, it's Masters Week. We got to start the show with a positive note because we've got some not so positive stuff to talk about, as y'all know. But it's finally here. Like you said, Nice, a few weeks back, this is one of the greatest stretches of the year as far as sports go. You get the NCAA basketball national championship tournament. You get the Masters. You get opening day. The weather's on and off, but you get some warm weather and sunshine. Grass starts growing. It's a good day to have a good day.
Yeah. I've got my I've got my mat for those that aren't watching. I've got this hat I purchased it at Augusta in 2023 when we went down for the Wednesday practice round. And for those that don't know, I'll try to find it and put it in the video. This is the old caddy. This is the hat the caddies used to wear years ago, made famous by Chi Rodriguez and his caddy. The drip in that photo is just tremendous. And it's Chi standing there in his caddy, black guy. He's got a fro. And this hat is sitting on top. I mean, it's one of the best golf pictures or one of the best pictures you'll see ever.
That photo is a top three photo in Augusta national history, which says so much.
There's another one I saw. I don't think I'll be able to find this one, but it's I don't know what year it's from. It looked like it was from the 80s, but it's Jack Nicklaus and he's making a putt and his caddy is pointing and with a cigarette in his mouth. I'd never seen that pic. It was on Almost Friday on
Mm-hmm.
Instagram. It was fantastic.
Just the lore of this weekend is it's unprecedented.
So
It's the only golf tournament in the world that doesn't have fans. It has patrons, and it doesn't have rough. It has the second cut. It's the most beautiful cult in the entire world.
I was announcing the Carter baseball game tonight, and shout out Big Ethan Rimmer was there, and he actually got to go to Augusta for the Tuesday practice round yesterday. And I was asking him, I said, "What was it like?" Like I'd been there, I've seen it a couple times, but he had never been. I said, "What was it like?" And he was like, "It's like I wasn't on planet Earth. I was somewhere else." And seriously, I remember in 2017 when I walked in, I couldn't talk. It's the same thing I said a while back when I walked into Wrigley Field for the first time in like, I don't know, 30 years. I couldn't speak. Like, because I was just like looking around and trying to take it all in. I couldn't talk. I was dumbfounded. And that was the way it was when I walked in. But he was like, it's like you're on a different planet. You don't hear anything from the outside world and you can't because you can't take your phone in, which is good and bad. I actually kind of enjoyed it, not having my phone with me. But he was
I think
right. It's like a different
I think it's
place.
the best rule in sports.
It's what?
I think it's the best rule in sports.
Oh yeah. The thing
Yeah.
I like that they do too is for the practice rounds, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you can take your camera in. You can take like a digital camera in, and take pictures. But for the rounds, you can't take anything in. Nothing. There's pay phones that you don't pay for if you need to call out. There's pay phones located or phones located throughout the park or throughout the property that you can use. But other than that, you're cut off from the outside world. And so it's different. It's a throwback, but everything about it's perfect. I mean, the property, there's nothing out of place. The grass is perfect. There's no weeds. There's nothing. Everything, every detail is perfect, and it's the one of the biggest events, and probably the I just like it because of the tradition, and that's what draws me to it. And people that know me know I'm a big tradition guy, but that there's nothing that beats it, Harbin. Absolutely nothing.
Now,
And that's why I'm wearing this hat.
I've got a golf hat on as well.
Yes, you do.
Shout out Inward Half. Enjoy the walk in. Uh, that was not an ad, by the way.
No, I hadn't got Todd and the boys to sponsor us yet.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
still waiting on my I'm still waiting on my polo.
Uh, yeah. This weekend's great, but let's get into the meat and potatoes because most of the people that are tuning in are not tuning in for Masters talk, and we'll give some Masters picks towards the end of the show. But let's wrap up the last week and a half,
Yeah, let's do
and a half
that.
or so.
So let's start. So programming note, y'all don't know this listening, but I was going to have Jordan Moore back on. We'd been talking the last couple days, and he was going to come in and break down, give us some more detailed info on Tennessee basketball, like where they finished, transfer portal, who's coming in, who Tennessee's looking at. He unfortunately is obtained the stomach bug that has been going around for a while, East Tennessee, and I don't envy him at all. I told him I hope he gets to feeling better soon, but he's under the weather tonight and unable to record, so we'll get him on maybe here in the next couple weeks or something. But I was going to update everybody about where Tennessee's at with the transfer portal. So good news I know Harbin said we had some not so good news to talk about, but some good news with Tennessee. One, Tennessee basketball. One is they've had nobody leave, which is in this day and age, I don't want to say shocking, but a little bit surprising.
I mean, hell, we didn't really have enough that were young enough to leave.
I mean, the only one I was worried about maybe potentially was Bishop Boswell, but I don't know where he would go unless he transferred down to a lower level.
Somebody else said that, and just in my uninformed opinion, I wholeheartedly disagree. He was pretty much the only guard that didn't graduate on the roster.
Yeah.
Like he's a prime, like he's going to be the only returning guard outside the GPA guards that has a chance to prove himself as a guy that's been here and kind of set the standard to the guys that are coming in. He has a great chance to be a key role next year and prove himself. I didn't really envision him going anywhere, to be honest with you.
I didn't
He still
either.
can. He still can
Yeah.
if we get a couple more guards, but
I didn't either. I just wondered about him because he didn't get to play much. But Rick Barnes doesn't play freshmen a whole lot. You have to be pretty talented before he'll play. Um, and I mean, he got a few minutes here and there, but nothing really significant. But Tennessee has gone after a few people. We talked about a couple weeks ago Isaac McNeely, I think is his name, from Virginia. He ended up choosing Louisville, which from what I've read, and I talked to Jordan about it, from what I've read, and uh, Tennessee was kind of surprised he didn't come here. I think they thought they had him locked up, but last minute he swerved and went north to Louisville. Um, Big one though, Tennessee. Sorry, go ahead, Harb.
just what wasn't it always between us and Louisville?
It was, yes.
I read not from Tennessee fans or people that he pretty much just used us to get more money out of Louisville.
I'd heard that too. I don't know, but I mean,
Nobody's ever going to
it,
know.
it sounded to me from a couple different sources that Tennessee staff thought like they had not locked up, but they thought he was going to commit to them, and then he didn't. So I'm sure money played a part in that. And I like Pat Kelsey up there at Louisville. I think he's going to do a great job up there. Um, so I wouldn't blame Isaac McNeely for going there, but it kind of stunk because I think that was their number one target until Jacoby Gillespie out of Greenville high school who went to Belmont and then to Maryland and became a star at Maryland last year, entered the portal, and that was Tennessee's number one object of affection, and they got him. He committed to the Vols pretty quickly. I don't think he ever stepped foot on campus. He probably didn't need to, but he committed, and they're off and running. They got also Jalen Carey from Vanderbilt, who's a 6'8" forward, really shoring up their front line. I think you're going to see with this team, Harbin, they've now got pretty much four guys that they can interchange down low. It almost seems to me that they might go to more, in the past 2 or 3 years, it's been a guard heavy lineup. It seems to me with the roster structure currently that they might go to more of a balanced, three guards, two big men type lineup. And they can now with four. Last year, they didn't have that option with Estrella being injured. They basically only had two big men down low, and Cade Phillips and Felix Okpara. Now they've returned Estrella from injury, Okpara and Phillips, and now they've added Carey. I don't know if there's anybody else out there that they're looking at as far as the backcourt goes or the front court goes, but that's four pretty solid players, I think, just from reading things. I don't know that Jalen Carey's an all-star or all SEC player, but he could come in here and give him some solid minutes. I think you're seeing him load up on rebounding. I mean, think back to the last three losses Tennessee had to finish the season: Ole Miss, Florida, and Houston. What do all three of those losses have in common besides them going on a scoring drought? Take that out. They got out rebounded
Yeah.
badly. And I think the staff noticed that, and that's what they're addressing. Now, obviously, they need to get some scoring in. They've addressed that with Gillespie. There's also Gillespie's teammate, Rodney Rice, out of Maryland, who has entered the portal. He's getting quite a few looks. Tennessee,
And
Villanova,
and roommate.
and roommate, yes. I
Yeah.
think Tennessee and Villanova are the top two that I read, but then I heard or read this afternoon that he had a Zoom call with Southern Cal either today or yesterday, today being Wednesday. So I can't imagine him going to Southern Cal. I don't know where he's from, if he's from out that way and he just entertained him, but I had read that Southern Cal had been trying to make a push for him. But I think from everything I'm seeing or hearing, it's Tennessee and Villanova, and I really think the only reason it's Villanova is because that's where his coach went. Kevin Willard went to Villanova. So
Well,
what's
it was between here and Villanova for Gillespie as well.
true? Yes.
Yeah.
I think Maryland fans are holding out the hope that Rice comes back, but I don't think that's happening.
No, I don't think so either. Buzz Williams went there, correct?
Yes, he left A&M and went to Maryland.
They're gonna be good again. Like that, I think they can still build off of this year, even with the coaching change.
Well, they've brought in several transfers already.
Yeah, I don't think Maryland basketball is going anywhere. Personal opinion. Buzz Williams is a hell of a coach, and I think that area. Well, one, that area is a hotbed for recruiting, like Baltimore, DC area, and two, I think that program actually cares about basketball.
I mean, that's what their number one sport is.
Yeah, which I think the whole reason with Willard leaving was most of the NIL funding was going towards football.
Maybe.
Well, he made a big fuss about it, and then they pledged to give more of the money to basketball, and he still went behind their backs, took the Villanova job. Different story for a different time.
Jeez. Yeah, well, um, what do you think so far? What's your opinion, or I don't want to, you can't say rankings, but what's your thoughts on how Tennessee's attacked the transfer portal since the season's ended in basketball, not football?
I think it's been fair. I think getting Gillespie was huge for us. You know, losing Ziegler, Meshack. I mean, you lose your whole backcourt. and you lose two 4-year guys, like you got to have a ball handler.
Yeah.
And Gillespie is a hell of a point guard, and he can create his own shot too. And he's got decent size for a point guard. I think he was one of the best portal pickups in the entire country so far. So I
Yeah.
applaud him.
On three's got him ranked ninth overall in the transfer portal.
Yeah. And then Carey, the kid from Vanderbilt, I don't know a ton about him. I remember him from when Tennessee and Vandy played. Uh, but
Yeah.
he's long, he's physical, and he's going to add to defense and rebounding. And he can score a little bit too. So I think both of them are good. I would like to get one or two more players because just simple math, we lost 8 guys. How many guys are coming in the recruiting class? Two, three?
Three.
So yeah, I'd like to get at least two more guys out of the portal.
The thing I like about Gillespie is he was a combo guard, I think, at Belmont, and they tried to turn him into more of a point guard at Maryland. But he shot, what was it, Harbin, 41% from 3 point range.
It was right around 40, yeah.
Yeah, hit 87 3 pointers last year. And I think they said, was it 20 or 25 of those 3 pointers were beyond 23 feet or something like that. So he's got some range, which is big, especially in today's game. I think the carry guy is going to bring you some physicality, defense, rebounding. He's not going to score a whole lot, doesn't shoot great. I think his field goal percentage was around like 44%, but his 3 point percentage was like 21%. And he made, I think, 8 3 pointers last year or something like that. So not really um a outside shooter. I mean, maybe they could turn him into that. The Rice guy that we're talking about from Maryland, I've looked him up here. Um, he averaged 14.8 points per game in Big Ten play. So over 20 games in Big Ten play, 14.8 points per game, 44.1% from the field, and 35.5% from 3 point range. So um, not, like a sharpshooter by any means, but he's going to step back and make some threes every now and then. Said he also scored 10 or more points in all but 10 games and scored 15 or more in 16 games and 20 or more in 6 games. So he can put he can put some points on the board when they need him to, and I think he could help Tennessee next year. Obviously, they need help, but he would be. I think they need to get him. I think they need to find a way to get him here, and I think having Gillespie here now helps. Outside of the, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say getting both of them would be huge just for team chemistry, because we're kind of we're not patching together the roster. We've got a good amount of guys that have played a lot of meaningful minutes coming back. But with rebuilding the backcourt, it's at least nice to have two guys that have chemistry together from previous times, even if they're new in the system. At least they kind of know how each other plays, and it'll help with everyone gelling earlier than later. Like with, for example, Louisville this past year. They had a million transfers, and when we played them, they played like a bunch of guys that never played together.
Yeah,
Beat them by what, 22 at Louisville?
yeah, it was a blowout.
They ended up losing what, like 3 games in 2025?
Something like that. They were good.
Yeah, yeah. So, but I do think it'd be huge if those two guys. I don't know if both of them will start. They probably will. Um, I think it'll definitely help with everyone gelling sooner if we get Rice to go along with Gillespie. But also, I just looked up Carey's stats. He averaged he averaged 8 points and 6 rebounds a game, but that was
Yeah.
only in 20 minutes a game.
I mean, think if he comes
And
here
and
and plays.
49% from the field. But
Okay.
he can't shoot.
Yeah, think if he comes here and plays 25 to 30 minutes a game, ups his points per game to 10 and his rebounds to 8. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, I mean that's what Triple J did a couple years ago. That's what um uh I lost my train of thought. I mean that's what Triple J did basically when he was here. He was a 10 and 8 guy every night.
He's not going to play the same as Triple J though. He's
No,
six
he
eight.
can't you can't shoot, but
Well, he's 6'8", 265 as well.
yeah.
So well, we're gonna have some beef down low.
I
It's
did I did like his comment after he left Vandy. He said, "I ain't got time for no black and gold." Something to that effect.
and also the cool thing about Gillespie coming in. For those that don't know, he went to Greenville High School.
Green Devils.
Yep. So it's kind of a homecoming for the young
Mhm.
man. So welcome home, big fella.
Another thing I was getting ready to say is since he's come here, he has really started trying to recruit a high school, one of the top players in the nation on the high school level, on the prep level, Nate Ament, who's out of Warrenton, Virginia, class of 2025. He's a power forward, 6'9", 185, the number 4 overall player in next year's class, and he is really going after him, trying to get him to come to Tennessee. Tennessee's on his finalist list. It's Arkansas, Kentucky, Duke, Tennessee, and Louisville. Looks like Justin Gainey is the main recruiter on that one. So, I mean, think if he pulls him in, that's a pretty big get. I mean, a top 5 player in the country, top 4 player in the country, and I, I don't know much about Nate Amin. I know he was here back in the fall for a visit and is pretty high on Tennessee, but that's a player that under Rick Barnes we've not really gotten since he's been here. I mean, he's gotten some high besides Springer and Johnson,
Kendi Chandler.
Kennedy Chandler, but I mean that's been few and far between. It's not like we're Duke when we get those every single year. So that would be a big get for this staff if they can pull that off. It won't be for next year, obviously. It'd be for the year after, but
Yeah, I think which this kind of goes into the current state of college basketball. Like programs are either going one or two ways for the most part. You're either going you're either going the culture route and then sprinkle in some transfers every once in a while, or you go all in on recruiting every year and you try to get the top of the top one and dones, which Duke has actually transitioned into over the
yeah.
last 15 years. The same route Kentucky went, and it's cool. They're an NBA factory, but remind me, how many national championships does Duke have in the last 15 years?
One,
How many did Kentucky get under Calipari?
one.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there you go. And then the two teams that played for a national championship this year, neither one of them had a 5-star on the entire roster.
Did I see something that Louisville has more national championships in the last 25 years than Kentucky?
It's either equal to or one
Or
more.
or equal, yeah. It's
It's
something
one
like
of the
that. It kind of
better.
like I'm like, yeah, that's right, but it like when I read it out loud, I was like, I mean, you just think Kentucky's been so good for so long, especially under John Calipari. It's kind of surprising they didn't win more than one title while he was here or there, not here. But I wanted to talk real quick before we moved on. Harbin, Tennessee, the season's over. For those that are living under a rock, FYI. The season ended on Monday night. Florida claimed the national title over Houston in dramatic fashion, come from behind win, trailed by 12 at one point, wins the title. Tennessee finishes, which is what we said on the show. Tennessee finishes fifth in all the voting polls, mostly all the analytical polls. We said it on our last show that Tennessee was probably the fifth best team in the country. The computers and the humans agree with us, Harbin.
Yeah, we were the It's kind of a shitty year to be the fifth best team in the country
Yeah.
when the top four were historic teams of the last 30 years analytically. And non biasedly, when you watch the Final Four, those four teams were undoubtedly the best four teams in the country. The Final Four delivered. Both of the semifinal games were incredible. The Florida Auburn game was one of the best basketball games of the whole year, and the Duke Houston game had all the drama. Like,
Yeah.
probably the best comeback in college basketball I've ever seen, especially at that stage.
On that stage, yes, I would agree.
And the national championship game delivered. It wasn't the greatest basketball for the first 15 minutes of the game, but it was tight. Houston pulled away, and then they just wouldn't slam the door, which blows my mind because you'd think they would have learned that 48 hours previously. And I almost took a trip to Henley Street because I had a future bet on Houston to win the national championship from roughly 2 months ago. And instead of hedging and betting on Florida, I doubled down and put a lot of
Oh,
money on Houston. And I can listen, man. I can handle losing a bet. I'm not the world's greatest gambler. I'm probably below average. But you get 19.7 seconds to get up a shot, and you literally don't even put one up. It was vomit material.
I'm surprised Sampson didn't call timeout there because you could tell as soon as they got the ball across half court, they looked discombobulated.
Listen, I love Kelvin Sampson, and he's done an absolute hell of a job with Houston. Like, he has turned them into a perennial powerhouse. He doesn't get enough credit when you're talking about maybe not all time coaches, but at least coaches of the last 30 years. Like, he seems to get forgotten in that. His first win next season is going to be his 800th victory, which
And
I think
300th at Houston and 800th overall.
is crazy. And I think he has the second most wins out of active coaches behind Barnes. No,
I think that's right. Yes.
either him or Izzo.
Could be
But
wrong.
either way, he's done a phenomenal job. But if you watch that final possession, he just froze up.
He did.
He did absolutely nothing, and he saw his dream literally crumbling in front of him. And like, outside of the fact that I lost a small fortune, I felt really bad for the guy. Like, I did. Like, he had done such a phenomenal job this season and in that game and the whole tournament, just the whole 9 yards, and he froze up. And I think we as fans or viewers forget that they're like actual humans out there. Like, when they were missing all those shots in the first 10 minutes, like, do you understand how nervous those guys were? Like,
In front of 65,000 people and how
yeah,
many millions watching?
yeah,
Yes.
on top of shooting in a dome, which is, if you've ever shot in an arena with nobody in it, it's way harder than shooting in a regular gym. Like, yeah, I mean, there's immense pressure. But the thing that people don't understand is just because you're 70 something years old don't mean that you don't succumb to the same pressure. So it was a really good game. Hats off to Florida. They were the best team in the country ever since probably January or February, in my opinion. Um, I even argued that they had a case for the number one overall seed on the show a few episodes back.
Hmm.
Credit to me. Uh, Not trying to brag or anything. But yeah, they earned it. And I believe they beat six of the top 10 Ken Palm teams to close out the season.
Well, that's funny you say that because I've got Ken Palm pulled up. Let's look at that, Harb. So who did they beat?
Well, they beat us in the SEC championship game.
Okay. We're
And
number
then,
5.
and then obviously the 16th round or the 116 doesn't count. Where was UConn in Ken Palm?
32. So they were top 50. They were basically a quad one.
Okay, well, it wasn't that.
Well, no, not quite quad one because it's a neutral site, but close.
Well, it wasn't. Okay, I butchered this. It wasn't six of the top 10. It may have been six of the top 25.
Let's keep going. Who'd they beat in the Sweet 16?
Maryland.
Maryland was 10.
Okay, Texas Tech.
Texas Tech was 9.
Okay, Auburn.
Auburn was 4.
Houston.
Houston was 2.
Okay, so they beat the number two, the number four, the number nine, the number 10, and what were we? Five.
5.
Five.
Yeah.
Five of the top 10. Just an incredible run.
Look
They earned it.
look at who Houston beat to get to the title game. They beat Duke, who was number
Duke
1.
won.
They beat us 5. Who did they beat? Purdue. Purdue was 15. And then in their, let's see, they were 1
Gonzaga.
seed playing
Gonzaga.
Gonzaga, who was number 8. So they had almost equally as tough a road to get to where they got to. It's just insane. I mean, it's just insane the road these two went on and the games they had to win. I mean, I looked at like what Tennessee did this year and the teams they beat just to get to where they got to. I mean, we beat obviously not the same teams. I mean, we beat Kentucky in the Sweet 16. They finished 16th. We beat UCLA, who was 20. And then in the SEC tournament, we beat Auburn at 4. And then think of all the wins during the regular season Tennessee had. Now, I do agree with you though, Harbin. The top 4 definitely. After watching them play each other, I was sitting there Saturday night like Tennessee, who I thought was really good, and I had as a Final Four contender, national title contender, but you could just tell there was something missing compared to what these 4 teams had. And it showed when we played Houston. And it hurt me to see that. Um, but I texted you all the other night and said, Big Montana said, Rick he's never going to get it done here. He just can't do it. And I'm like, we are that close right now. We're that close to being there. And that's what's like I was frustrated when we lost to Houston, but I'm like, man, we are right there. And if we can just get the right players in here and things fall our way, maybe we can get there. I also thought I was trying to feel sorry for myself. Like, man, every time we go to the tournament, we end up losing to somebody who goes on a magical run. But I guess I would rather him lose to somebody like that than, if we lost to UCLA in the second round and they turn around and get blown out by Kentucky in the Sweet 16. Because that makes us look even worse. I mean, look at who we've lost to the last few years. We lost to Houston this year, played for the national title. Purdue last year played for the national title. In the past, we've lost to Loyola Chicago, Final Four, FAU, Final Four, Oregon State, Elite Eight. I
As a
mean, when we're losing to people, we're losing to teams that go on a run. So I don't know if you beat Tennessee in the next few years, watch out, your team might go on a run.
Yeah. Um, what's what is the most frustrating about this season? And this is kind of this is giving the team credit. Like, let's just go back 20 years. Probably 18 of the last 20 years, this is a Final Four team. Like, you can throw out 2025 and probably 2007, because those are the 2 years that all 4 one seeds made it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and out of those 18 years, this team probably gets a one seed
Yeah.
13 or 14 years out of that. But it's just the nature of the beast, and it is what it is. Like, I'm obviously not making any excuses. But another thing, at least in shorthanded memory, this was the widest gap between one seeds and two seeds that I can remember. So you got Auburn, Florida, Duke, and Houston. Put them in a ball. Then you got Tennessee, Alabama, Michigan State, and St. John's. Like there is a pretty significant gap between the first four teams and the second four teams. And normally there's like, and we kind of had a case for a one, but we really didn't. We
Yeah.
we as fans talked ourselves into it. I think if you I think if you beat Ole Miss at Ole Miss and you beat Florida in the SEC championship, you probably do get the one.
Yeah.
You probably do, but it didn't happen. And I mean, the committee that did the seating got it absolutely right, and just is what it is. And it's funny because this year we were the fifth best team and lost to the second best team analytically and how they finished. And last year, semi biasly, but honestly, I thought we were the third best team in the country last year, and we lost to the second best team in the tournament.
Yeah.
We would have got beat by 25 by UConn if we would have made it to the national championship, but that's neither here nor there. That's just like if like when you run these scenarios back year by year, it is frustrating. But optimistically, like you said, like this program is so damn close. Like, and everybody online was making fun of us, not making a Final Four. We are now tied for the most tournament wins in program history without a Final Four. We're tied with Xavier. And eventually it's going to happen.
Well,
I'm not comparing us to Xavier. We're in a much better spot than Xavier is. Their coach just left to go to Texas. But I mean, we're right there, man. And I trust the coaching staff. I trust the people behind the scenes that are, well, let's just say it out loud, helping funding this program. I trust it all. I mean, we are we've proven ourselves over the last 5 to 7 years, maybe excluding one or two of those years, that we're a perennial top 10 basketball program. It just is what it is. And eventually that door is going to open. I don't know if it'll be with Rick Barnes. It may be with somebody else. But eventually it's going to happen. And all of these close calls and getting that close, you can taste it and it not happening. It's gonna make it feel better when it eventually does.
I mean, even if it's not Rick Barnes that gets it done as head coach here, I mean, look at what he's done to set the table for whoever follows him, whether it's yeah, I mean he's turned this program into a top 10 basketball program. Is it perennially a top 10 program over time? Absolutely not. But it's a top 10 basketball program right now. And that I was reading the future or the what do they call them, way too early top 25s for next year have come out, and it's all the polls are all over the place. The majority of them have Tennessee anywhere from 15 to 20. There was one that had them at 24. There was one that had them at number 10. I mean, I don't know how you rank teams, and what's his name? Will sleep in May.
John Rothstein.
Rothstein prefaced his poll. He has a top 45, and I think he had Tennessee at number 20. But he prefaced a lot of these teams with, I didn't even rank some teams because they don't have a capable roster right now because of the transfer portal. And I mean, Tennessee has a quote unquote capable roster, but it's not anywhere completed. So, I mean, add a couple more players that might change the landscape of it. But I think Tennessee has squarely got themselves set as a top four program in the SEC and a top 10 to 15 program nationally. And like you said, that's where you want to be. And I haven't looked at the future betting odds. I saw one that had Duke as the favorite next year and another one that had Houston is the favorite to win the national title. I didn't even look to see where Tennessee was because it doesn't make any sense to look right now. But um, I think it shows you I can't remember who posted this or which poll it was, but their comment under why they had Tennessee ranked, I think they were number 20, was Rick Barnes has built a program that is perennially going to contend for the SEC and for a top four seed in the NCAA tournament. Why should we expect any different next year, even with a reloaded roster? Was basically what that person said, and that's you can say that with Tennessee baseball. I mean, why should we ever think from here on out that Tennessee baseball is not going to compete for the SEC in the national championship under Tony Vitello? It's just not going to not happen. He's going to reload. He's going to recruit at a high level, and kids in the transfer portal going to want to come here. I think that's the same, not to the same level maybe, but it's the same type of deal in basketball right now with Rick Barnes. He's built a program here where kids want to come and play. He may not be getting the number one. He may not be getting Cooper Flag or even this Mint kid that we talked about earlier. But he's attracting really good players here that fit his system, and he's won. I think he's up to 69% of his games while he's here. So he's doing something right, and I don't expect that to change. Now, do I expect them to be a 1 or 2 seed next year? I hope they are, but I, I don't know. Probably not. But as long as they're a top four, as long as they're in the top 16, you got a puncher's chance in the NCAA tournament. But we'll see where they go. I mean, it's we said it on our last show that we recorded. This was a big off season, and I think they're off to a I don't want to say a great start, but I think they're off to a good start. But they could finish strong, and there's still some players out there to go get. We'll see what they do, Harbin.
Yeah, well,
Rick,
definitely
Rick's working hard.
working very hard. Uh,
For a man that was supposedly going to retire, he's recruiting at an awful high level. That's all everybody kept saying for the last 2 months. Rick's going to retire. Ziegler's gone. He's going to retire. Wrong. Rick is still our
don't
coach.
throw me into that. I just asked a question. And
No, no, no. I'm not saying you. There was a lot of that chatter going around. You would get I don't want to say the common, I don't want to call it I don't know how to describe this. This is the casual fan. I
the
heard
vote,
Rick. I,
the
I heard.
vocal minority.
I heard Rick Barnes was. I mean, people they don't follow it like you and I do, Harbin. They would come up to me. I heard Rick Barnes was retiring after the season. I had a family member of mine said, "Well, I hope they can win it because this is Rick's last year." And I said, "Rick Barnes?" And they're like, "Yeah, he announced his retirement already." I was like, "What are you talking about?" I had to get on my phone and show them that that wasn't true. They believed that they had read something that Rick Barnes was retiring and he had announced his retirement before the season. I was like, why would he do that? Like, unless he had somebody in waiting. But I told you all the other day, let him cook. See what we got.
All right, so we're now roughly 47 minutes into the show. Do you actually want to talk about the Houston game now?
Just briefly, not really, but briefly, I
I mean, it's the
thought,
last game of the year. We might as well cover it.
well, we might as well just briefly because I want to do Tennessee baseball or talk about Tennessee baseball, not do them. But but I thought that game was. I thought it was a great Final Four. The semifinal games, like you said, were great. I thought the national championship. I agree with you 100%. It wasn't the best basketball, but I sat there and watched every minute of it. I couldn't like. I got up one time to go to the bathroom and paused it because I didn't want to miss anything and came back. I thought it was one of the better Final Fours I've watched. I don't think it was the best ever, but it was close.
It was a phenomenal Final Four. But when I brought up about talking about the Houston game, I meant the Tennessee Houston game.
Oh, did we not talk about that on last week's show?
We didn't do one last week.
Yeah, we did.
No, we did not.
We talked about the Kentucky and Houston game. I promise you, we did, Harp.
Yeah, I guess we did, didn't we?
Oh, I thought. Well, I was like, where? What is he talking about?
We're gonna cut that part out, folks. We're not actually cutting it out.
I don't know. I'll have to talk to my editor about that. Which
I
is
had a brain.
me.
Hey, I had a brain fart. It is
That's
what
all
it is.
right. It happens. Hey, I called.
We got beat so bad that I went into concussion protocol, and I have foggy memory.
Yeah, Houston did beat us up pretty good. So, what about Tennessee baseball last weekend? Harbin losing 2 out of 3 to the Aggies after no hitting them on Friday night. I went to the second game. I went to the Friday night game,
It was a
and then
bad
I
day.
went to the second game on Saturday. I couldn't go to the first one. They played a double header, and the game I went to, A&M hit 7 home runs, and on their seventh one, I looked. My dad went with me. I looked at my dad and I said, "Just go. Just I can't watch this anymore. Get me out of here." It was 14-2 at that point. I was I was sitting there thinking about it on the way home. I was like, "Golly, what is going on? What happened?" But if you sit there and look at it, Tennessee A&M got hot in that first game on Saturday, and then they turned around and played 45 minutes later, and it was like the continuation of game one. They didn't miss a beat. They didn't miss a pitch. It didn't matter who Tennessee was throwing. They were hitting the ball. Um, I don't read too much into it. It was just, I think, one of those days. I think if they had just played and lost 9-3 on Saturday and then come back and played on Sunday, you would have probably, I'm not saying Tennessee would have won. I'm saying you would have seen a different game. You wouldn't have seen a 17-6 game. It would have, I think it would have been a different game because A&M would have had to left the complex, gone to the hotel, slept, got up the next morning, ate breakfast, and come to the stadium. It's totally different. Baseball is such a day-to-day sport, and I just think A&M caught fire, and they're really good. Despite their 1-9 SEC record coming into the series, they have a lot of talent on that team. And it showed, especially at the plate on Saturday. I mean, they dominated Tennessee pitching. And I don't read too much more into it than that. Tennessee's got a tough series this weekend at Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a surprisingly good team. They were not predicted to be where they are. I think they were predicted to finish near the bottom of the conference this year, and they're in the top 10. So Tennessee's going to have their hands full in Oxford this weekend, but I'm expecting them to bounce back and show that they're one of the top teams in the country.
Yeah, like you said, it's just a bad day. It's going to happen, especially playing in the SEC. We've been extremely spoiled over the last 2 years. This is the first SEC series loss in damn near 2 years.
Yeah.
So it's bound to happen. Does it suck that it happened to a team that was 1-8 in the friendly confines? Yeah, absolutely it does.
Who we beat for the national title last year.
Exactly. Yeah, but I mean, come on, we can. It'd be different if it's flip flop. That would really hurt.
Well, yeah.
But it just happens. Like you said, it's baseball. Like baseball and golf are very similar in that aspect.
Yes.
It's so day to day. I mean, for example, Ricky Fowler this past week, he went 75 first day, 65 second day, 73 the third day. It just is what it is. And baseball is very similar. Like you get a little bit of momentum, it can go a long way in baseball. Because
Yep.
you can't run out the clock. You got to get 20. Each team gets 27 outs unless you're just beating the hell out of them in college. You got to throw it over the plate. And they did a little bit better job of throwing it over the plate and hitting it than we did.
Yeah.
So credit to them. They were. I don't want to sound like this, but they were kind of due. Like A&M was a little due. I didn't think it would necessarily happen against us, but we're fine. We're still very good. Honestly, I'm glad that we're not going to be ranked number one all year because it's probably going to take a little bit of time for us to get back to that if we do. Because they dropped us to what, 5?
5.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm totally good with that, and honestly, I prefer it. I don't want to be number one all year. However, we're still going to have that target on our back.
Yeah, I mean we're the defending champions in the
Right.
conference and the nation.
And Vitello wears that proudly. And you can tell that he does because a lot of the players do too. Not even necessarily this year, but just the majority of the time that he's been here after we've gotten good. They like the villains thing from a few years ago. Like they take that title and wear it proudly. And I love that attitude because it's one of the first times that a Tennessee program, at least in recent memory, has been totally fine with adopting that. So,
They've embraced it, that's for sure.
yeah, this team's going to be fun. And honestly, I think this weekend was good for us. And we bounced back against Alabama State. What was the final in that? 8-1?
10-2.
10-2. Gotcha. But yeah, you bounce back, you take care of business in a midweek game. Who do we have this weekend?
Ole Miss
Here or there?
there.
That should be a fun.
I just said Ole Miss was um a team that was picked to finish near the bottom of the SEC, and they have been anything but that this year. I think they're top 10. I think they're sixth. We're fifth
Ole Miss is
in the
always
nation. So
for most of the time they're good.
yeah, Ole Miss is good every year. Um, I was trying to pull up the SEC baseball standings to show you evidence of where. So Tennessee's 9-3 in the conference. They are currently one, two, three, fourth in the conference, 2 games back of Arkansas, who they play here in the next few weeks. Ole Miss is 8-4, 26-7 overall. They're 18-3 at home, which is where they're playing Tennessee this weekend. So it should be a good series. I mean, Ole Miss is Mike Bianco always has good teams there. So it's not going to be a cakewalk going on the road. Not in this conference. I mean, from here on out, Tennessee's still got Ole Miss. They've got Kentucky, who's a little down this year, but they're going to be competitive. They've got Auburn, who's a top 25 team at home. Still got Vanderbilt, LSU, and at Ole Miss. I think we're LSU's here, I believe. I can't remember. But anyways, we still got those teams left. I wish we were playing I wish we were playing Missouri. They're 0-12. Good Lord. Remember when people used to say, like, oh, I hope Missouri don't come calling for Tony? There's no way he leaves here to go to Missouri and rebuild that program. There's just no way that that's happening, even though he's a graduate of there.
Yeah, I just don't see it. Maybe much later, but
Maybe.
yeah, like it kind of reminds me of the. Well, I'm gonna put this nicely, but the certain sector of the Lady Vol fan base when Kelly Harper got fired, and they're like, throw all the money at Don Staley.
Yeah.
Why? Like
Why
why?
would she come here?
Why would she go anywhere?
Yeah, anyway, why would she go to UConn? I mean, she's got everything she needs where she's at.
I mean, I love the ambition. Love the ambition out of Missouri, but if you're as a Tennessee fan, you should not be worried about Vitello going anywhere. Like if he goes anywhere, it's gonna be a shock. So like just don't even worry about it and just enjoy it while it's here.
Yes.
Like that's the thing that kills me more than anything. Like and that goes for all of our programs right now that are playing well. Like just enjoy the moment. Like don't walk outside while it's 80 and sunny with an umbrella. Just being like, damn, if it rains, I got my umbrella. Like, no.
That's a great analogy of Tennessee fans, Harbin.
Yeah, like go outside and enjoy the sunshine. Go play golf, go to the lake, do a damn cannonball. Enjoy it while it's here. And when it rains in 3 days, or whenever it does, then it's a rainy day. And it is what it is. But guess what? The sun's gonna come out eventually. Enjoy the sunshine while it's here.
That's like that's like some, not everybody, but some Tennessee fans a few weeks ago when the brackets came out. Oh Lord, look, we're gonna have to play Kentucky. Like, no, Kentucky has to play us.
We get to play
We
Kentucky.
get to play Kentucky. They have to beat us, not the other way around. Stop thinking like that, y'all. Oh, I just don't know. This doesn't look good. No, those times are over with. Wake up.
Comparison and worry is the thief of joy.
So, Tennessee baseball looks to bounce back this weekend. So, a little bit of football news. The spring game's this weekend, isn't it? I don't pay attention to the spring game anymore, Harbin. It's not the same as it used to be.
Speaking
Um,
of spring games, why is the NCAA saying no to teams playing each other in a spring scrimmage?
so I saw where there's two. I don't know who it is, and they're still going to do it.
Well, it was Colorado and somebody, and then there was Oklahoma State and somebody. And the NCAA said no. The only reason I know of Oklahoma State is because I saw Mike Gundy talking about it. And I don't know if Gundy said this, but somebody else said it. They were like, okay, well, they can say no all they want, but if we go ahead and do it, what the hell are they going to do? So
Thought I read somewhere where there were two teams playing.
I know
It says
Colorado was trying to schedule one.
With Syracuse.
Yeah.
It said as of 2 weeks ago, they filed paperwork with the NCAA for a joint spring game.
And, well, Syracuse's head coach, didn't he? Wasn't he under the Deion Sanders umbrella?
I don't know.
I think he, I think he was.
Well, I can't find anywhere that says two teams are playing, so maybe I've
I think,
imagined that.
hang on, I'm a find
Well,
that.
I honestly would like to see, and I don't think they need to play a full 60-minute game, but I would like to see them have some type of exhibition games to start the season because I mean, you look at high school, they scrimmage each other even in the spring now. Like Carter will play another team here in the spring. They do it in the fall. They'll have two or three different scrimmages. NFL, they have what, two preseason games before the season starts, so they're playing, and they have inter squad games, or not inter squad, but they have random where they practice together. College football doesn't do that at all. They don't do any of that. And the teams line up, and that's why a lot of people complain about the non-conference schedule, but that's why you play Austin P right out of the gate because it's the first time hitting the field as a team in a real game. And I mean, if you're Tennessee, do you want to go out and play Michigan right out of the gate? No, not necessarily, unless you're getting paid a boatload of money. I wouldn't. But I wouldn't mind seeing some type of I mean, maybe it's a 30-minute or 35-minute game or something instead of a 60-minute game. I don't know, but something.
So I found the Mike Gundy thing I was talking about. There were talks about Oklahoma and Oklahoma State doing a spring bedlam since they don't play every year anymore. You know,
Right.
and both fan bases were on board with it, and I think both universities were on board with it. But the week after Oklahoma and Oklahoma State got suggested to do a joint spring game, Mike Gundy offered some thoughts about Colorado and Syracuse getting their shindig denied. He said, "Listen, I mentioned it the other day. I just thought of the deal with OU. I think it's a good deal. I would like to do it. I would like to practice against them." And he went on to say, "I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to waste my time on who's going to determine what the rules are anymore because essentially there's not really enough of them to follow. And I'm not sure how they have grounds to say you can't do it. Like if somebody just goes and does it, what are they going to do?" And it's a good point. It's a great point. And
It is.
Mike Gundy's never been really the one to shy away from words. The infamous one last season was after Ollie Gordon got his DUI. I don't know if you heard any of that one.
I remember.
Yeah, that's a funny one. If you don't know it, Google it. But But yeah, I agree. Like, I think the NCAA knows that their powers are dwindling, and they're just trying to piss off as many people as they can before they go down.
You're probably right. I mean, they just what happens to those teams if they go ahead and do it?
NFL teams have done it for years during training camp.
That's what I said just a second ago. I mean, they practice NFL practices against each other. High school does too. High school and NFL both have quote unquote scrimmages against each other. College doesn't. Like, why are we not like why has this not ever been a thing? I don't know why they don't. I mean, I'm not saying it has to be Power Five or Power Four versus Power Four. What if Tennessee played ETSU in a scrimmage game or Chattanooga or somebody lower in D1? It doesn't have to
Oh,
be Alabama versus Auburn or Tennessee versus I'm trying to think of another power. Yeah, Tennessee versus Ohio State or Alabama versus Florida State or anybody like that. Like just go scrimmage somebody around your like Alabama can go scrimmage UAB or Auburn goes scrimmage Troy State or something like I don't know. Like, but why are we not doing that? I don't understand that.
yeah, yeah, I agree. And it's one of those things like I've never even thought of, and now that people have brought it up, which credit to Dion because it's actually a really good idea, and it's been in front of our noses this whole time. Like if you've ever watched Hard Knocks in your life, like it's there every year, and it's there, and like you said, it's there at every other level of football. Like how Carter does it, at least with two teams every year.
They'll, I promise you, they'll do one this spring with somebody.
Yeah, and if it's not like pads and like a full blown scrimmage, like they're at least doing kind of like 7-on-7 stuff.
Yeah,
You
I mean it's
know,
pretty much the one they did last year. I mean the clock timing rules were a little different because it wasn't a full on like if you run out of bounds, stop the clock. If the pass is incomplete, stop the clock. Basically, the clock ran, but they
right.
still played 4 quarters and they got a bunch of kids work. Um, and it's the same thing in the fall. They do the same thing. They've got 7-on-7 in the summer and then they go into 11v11 and they will have a couple scrimmages before the season starts. I went and called one of them last year. I know, I mean, I was calling I used it as a practice run for me in the booth. So I had my own scrimmage before the season started. We actually were trying out the new sound equipment, and so it actually worked out perfectly. But I think that's something we're going to do from now on, and it just gets everybody in game mode a little bit quicker instead of just, oh, we've practiced for a month and then you go play. Like no other sport does that. There's always an exhibition game. It's just college or college football. But anyways, speaking of Tennessee football, Harbin, I don't want to forget this. News broke earlier this afternoon. Remember we talked a few weeks ago that Nebraska cowardly backed out of their home and home series with Tennessee next year and the year after. We were supposed to go to Lincoln. Nebraska was going to come to Knoxville. Well, they found an opponent finally, Harbin. So next year, Tennessee will go to Hotlanta to take on the Georgia Tech Ramblin' Wreck, the Yellow Jackets.
What do you have? What do you have?
Yeah. We are now, this is what I'm interested to see. I was texting you all earlier today. I believe Georgia Tech has either some kind of understanding or contract or something with Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which is where the Falcons play, where the national championships played, where the SEC title games played, that if they have a big game, they can move it there. I think this would be considered a big game. Bobby Dodd Stadium on Georgia Tech campus only holds 55,000 people, which in college football at the high D1 level is very small. I hope and pray they do not move this game away from Bobby Dodd Stadium. It needs to be at Bobby Dodd Stadium. Whether that means I get to go or not because of the limited tickets, it's fine. I would love to go. I would love to be in Bobby Dodd. I've actually been in Bobby Dodd Stadium. We went to a Cubs and Braves game years and years ago, and it got rained out, and we just were driving around sightseeing, and we pulled up to Georgia Tech's campus, and the Bobby Dodd Stadium was wide open. We just walked out in the stadium. Very quirky stadium, very intimate, but cool. Um, and for those that don't know, Bobby Dodd, who the stadium's named after, actually played and was an All-American at Tennessee before he went on to coach the Yellow Jackets there in Atlanta. But I hope and pray that game is at on campus, Bobby Dodd Stadium, Georgia Tech. I'm fine if it's in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, but we played them there back in 2017. We don't need to go there and play them again just because they could fit 20 more thousand people in. Play it at Bobby Dodd Stadium. Let's do a true home and home here. Let's play it at Bobby Dodd Stadium, and then play it at Neyland Stadium in 2027.
I agree. I think it'd be electric.
Be
Uh,
awesome. It's a
yeah.
place Tennessee hasn't played. I mean, they used to play on a regular basis. Obviously, Georgia Tech used to be in the SEC. I need to look up while you give your thoughts. When was the last time Tennessee played at Georgia Tech on campus? Let me look that up. When do you think it was?
I have no idea. I'm a youngin. I'm gonna say
I have
it
no. I know they played the last time they played was in
was
the 80s,
2017.
but until they played in 17.
I'm gonna say sometime in the '60s.
Well, no, you're wrong. The last time we played in Atlanta was 1986. We lost 14-13. They came home. It looks like we played them pretty much every year in the 80s. Oh, my gosh, we played them every year for years. Starting in 76, there was a gap between 73 and 76 where we didn't play. And I don't know when they left the conference. But we played them every year until 1980. The last time we played them was 1987. And that was a win in Knoxville, 29-15. What a score. Um, and then we didn't play them again until 2017. Wonder why that series stopped abruptly like that. It's interesting because I mean they obviously played each other every year being in the SEC, and I don't remember when they left the SEC, but I mean they played them every year until 87.
Probably had a little bit to do with Bobby Dodd. It's probably why we played him
Possibly.
every year.
It said they left the SEC in 1964.
Okay, so I get partial credit
Yeah,
on what I was going off of.
they left the SEC in 1964 due to disagreements over the conference's rules regarding recruiting and scholarships, specifically the limit of 140 football and basketball scholarships. Dodd's effort to change the rule. Dodd lobbied the SEC to change the rule, but the conference members voted against tightening the rules, leading to Georgia Tech's decision to leave the conference. They left on January 24th, 1964, and became independent. They were a founding member of the Metro Conference in 1975 and later joined the ACC in 1978. So they were in the ACC for a decade while we were playing them every year,
Wow.
which is I always say a rivalry Tennessee football in the conference that we don't play anymore that we used to play every year that people don't think about a lot is Auburn. I mean, Tennessee and Auburn had some really classic matchups, two great programs played all the time, and we don't ever see each other anymore hardly. Um, but apparently Georgia Tech was a big non. I mean, imagine if that was still going on today. Every year we would either go to Atlanta or play them in Knoxville, and it just stopped in the late '80s.
I mean, it kind of makes sense. It's an easy trip. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, well, besides Atlanta traffic and Chattanooga
yeah,
traffic, literally,
and West Knoxville traffic,
I mean, sure, but I mean, you leave Knoxville and you make one turn and you're in Atlanta.
a
So,
left turn.
yeah, you make one left turn, you're in Atlanta.
Actually, two left turns because when you get to Chattanooga, you turn left to stay on 75 instead of going straight. So,
So while we're talking about Georgia Tech, I'd like to start a petition. And
okay.
and the header can be Section YY8. But my petition is to exile South Carolina to the ACC.
Back to where they were.
Correct. And bring back to the SEC Georgia Tech. That would be my proposal.
I'm not against that. I can't stand South Carolina.
And
They don't bring anything to this conference except women's basketball anymore. I mean, they won a couple baseball titles. Whoop-de-doo.
and the American can have Vandy, and we'll take back Tulane, and we
Wow.
can have all the original members back.
What about School of the South, Sewanee?
Ooh. They can join in the non-Big Four sports, so their golf school or their golf program can be in the SEC because the Sewanee golf course is extremely underrated.
We played it.
Yeah, and I don't even think we played it at peak season.
Mm, we didn't.
That place in the fall, I guarantee, is unreal.
Beautiful.
It's beautiful, it's challenging, and it's not holes, but it's fun.
Yeah,
Uh,
I
but yeah,
looked.
yeah, Swanee can come back to the SEC for golf.
Have
Yeah,
you ever watched the SEC storied and it talks about, like how SEC football like it started in the 30s and how it progressed and Sewanee was one of the most powerful football programs in the country in the teens and 20s, 1910s and 1920s. And they couldn't keep up scholarship wise with the big boys like Tennessee and Vanderbilt. And it's funny to say Vanderbilt is a big boy, but and that's why they ended up dropping down and going to D3 because they don't offer athletic scholarships. But it like kind of is amazing to me that program, who still is in existence, their Division 3 football team program that used to be in the SEC. I read about it a while back. It was kind of interesting and amazing to read about that program. I mean, they used to be, think about it, until Tennessee beat Alabama 7 times in a row, the only other team to beat them 6 times in a row was Sewanee until Tennessee did it in the late 90s and early 2000s. That's how good that program was back in the day, 100 plus years ago. But yeah, come on back, Sewanee. School of the South.
I'm here for it.
Was a nice golf course.
Yeah, I'd like to play it again. It was
We
fun.
can one day.
Yeah, it was fun.
Maybe we can do a little fall outing down there or something.
I would love to play that place in the fall.
I'll make Burkhart put it together.
Will he have his binder?
Absolutely.
Of course. Yeah, it's
Gotta have the binder.
trick question. Most people will, you remember like 15, 20 years ago, people had the hip clip for their phones. Uh, Burkhart has this retractable clip for his binder. That way, if he accidentally drops it, it doesn't hit the ground. It just,
And does it like come back to him? Like,
yes, it's
yeah,
retractable. So
it's
like it
I
comes
got you.
back to the belt loop. Yes. It's incredible technology. Truly is. But before we get off track, do you have a hater and loser this week?
Um, honestly, I really don't. It's been a pretty good week.
I
Or
do.
you got a hater and loser? Go ahead. I don't have one that I can think of off the top of my head, which is surprising with as many lame people and loser type people that are out there these days, Harbin. But you go ahead, and if I think of one, I'll share it.
My hater and loser of the week is not necessarily a person, maybe a group of people, but my hater and loser of the week is science.
Science.
Yes, science. This is not directed at Bill Nye, but my hater and loser of the week is science. I don't know if you heard over the last couple days, but dire wolves are back.
I did see this.
Uh, Scientists have been fiddling around with they found fossils of dire wolves and were fiddling around with the DNA, and they pretty much, I forget the exact term, but they recreated a dire wolf from DNA that I believe was over 10,000 years old. And I think there's two puppies. The names are or there's three actually. Two of them start with an R, and the other one's Khaleesi.
Well, I mean, that's a fitting name.
Yeah, or I mean, they could have named him John, but whatever.
What was
Because,
Jon Snow? What was their names on Game of Thrones? I don't remember.
oh man, if you wouldn't ask me, I could have told you John's. But anyway, this is Jurassic Park.
Ghost was his
Oh,
name.
yes, thank you.
I had to look it up.
And I don't want to take full credit for bringing this together because, pardon my take, touched on this, and this is where I get the joke from. But this is literally how Jurassic Park the movie started.
Hmm.
So, but from what I've actually read on this, they did tinker with the DNA they found, but pretty much they took existing DNA from gray wolves and tinkered with it to match it up to the direwolf DNA. So it's not necessarily like a true direwolf, but it is a direwolf.
I'm gonna be honest. I
It,
until I heard
this is
this
terrifying.
until I heard this news, I thought direwolf was just something that was made up for Game of Thrones. I had no idea it was a real animal.
No, yeah, they're real, like woolly mammoths and all that.
How big are they? I
Uh,
mean, they're like giant,
I mean they're bigger than a regular wolf.
but they're not like dinosaur size or anything.
No,
Okay, good. I thought they were like some giant wolf or something. I didn't know. This is the first. I don't know anything about dire wolves
they are
except from
equal.
Game of Thrones.
They are equal to or larger than you.
That's pretty big.
Oh yeah, it's big. Uh, but yeah, it's terrifying. This is just the tip of the iceberg.
Where are they going to live?
I don't know. There's puppies.
Like a zoo or something?
I don't know what they're gonna do with them, but there are puppies. There's three of them.
I bet they're cute.
They're cute as shit, but that's how they get you.
That's how they bring it.
You know, and the same thing with Jurassic Park. They found these fossils and recreated them, and people bought tickets to come see the dinosaurs. That's how they draw you in. They draw you in because these wolves are cute.
Blue was a good dinosaur, though. That was only one. The T Rex was vicious killer.
Also, the password was password.
Yeah.
But yeah, my hater and loser of the week is science. Why in God's green earth did they feel the need to tinker with this? I think they tinkered with it. See, this is conspiracy theory.
Ooh.
I think they tinkered with this. I think this is a front. I think they're doing it to see if they can do it with other things.
Yeah.
I don't know what, but I think they just are like, hey, here's some cute puppies to cover up the fact that they're really just testing this to see if they can do it with other stuff. But but yeah, there's no need for this. There's absolutely no need for it.
No.
It's like the Tupac hologram. Why?
Because they want to prove something to everybody that they can do it. And you might be right. There's probably some type of ulterior motive to this.
Yeah.
So
So, do you have you found one while I rambled?
I can't, Harb. I really can't. There was one I thought of, but the more I thought about it, I think he was just trolling. Was Phil Mickelson and some comments he made about John Rahm or something. I can't. It was something about the Masters, like he couldn't win it again or something. But I think he was just trolling because I saw him talking and like laughing and stuff at the champions dinner. But We were talking about this tonight. Have you seen the picture of the champions dinner? Like, what is up with Phil Mickelson? His like face and his eyes, he just looks so weird anymore.
It's called cocaine.
I, I said it in the press box, and I was like, "Is he on cocaine or something?"
Yeah, he has been ever since he went to live. They gave him $700 million. You got to sniff it up somehow.
I figured he just gambled it all away.
Yeah, but I mean, gambling and coke more than likely go hand in
There,
hand.
there was, talking about live. Just I don't want to talk about this a whole lot. We've already gone further or longer than I thought we would, but I did read a comment. Somebody asked John Rahm about the live and the PGA Tour, how close were they? And he said they're not close at all. He said it. They may be talking, but they're not close to anything about them merging back together.
Well, that's the thing. Nobody knows. Like, they're not telling any of the players on either side anything. Like, they announced it a year ago. They said that it was happening, and we still know nothing. And even guys like Rory and Phil know absolutely zero. So
Yeah,
nobody has a damn clue.
it's crazy. I didn't think that it would go on this long, but here we are, 2025.
All right, while we're on the topic, before we wrap this thing up, we're each going to give a player that's considered a favorite to win the Masters and a potential dark horse to win the Masters, just to make things fun.
Okay.
And just for poops and laughs, we'll take the combined score of these two fellas and go against each other and see who wins.
Okay, let's do it.
I will let you
I
go.
need a pen to write this down.
I will let you go first on the favorite, and I'll go first on the dark horse. Is
So
that
this
fair?
is my favorite to win.
Yeah, you pick two. You pick one that's like a favorite to win, one like the top five guys, and then we pick one from the rest of the field. But don't pick like the sixth guy. That's not fun.
Yeah. I I don't want to say this is a dark horse to win it, but I think Ludwig Oyberg, is that how you say his name? I mean, he's ranked fifth in the world, so I don't know how I call him as a dark horse, but
Not a dark horse.
he's not a dark horse. But
He's
a lot
like
of people don't
fourth
like
in the
the
league.
casual golf fan may not know who he is. So let me back off from that one. I think my favorite to win it, I mean, besides Scotty Scheffler, my favorite to win it right now would probably be Xander Schauffele. I actually have him on my six-man team this weekend for the Masters, which consists of John Rahm, Colin Morikawa, Xander Schauffele, Tommy Fleetwood, Will Zalatoris, and Sung J M. And it's a salary cap game. So if you're asking why I picked those, it's because you have to manipulate the names you pick by the salary cap. Um, Favorite outside of that, I said was Xander Schauffele. A dark horse, Harbin. He kind of caught me off guard with that one. I'd say probably. I don't know if I mean with somebody in the top 25 of the world rankings, a dark horse for this. Could they be
Yeah, sure.
considered?
Just take somebody outside of like the top 10 gambling
I'd
favorites.
say Akshay Bahati would probably be my dark horse to win. He's playing really well. He's gotten better over the last couple of years.
I don't know who that human is, but you may be.
The Indian guy with glasses.
I know exactly what you're talking about. You may be referring to Akshay Bhatia.
Well, I said I'm glad. I'm glad I didn't have to announce his name at Carter because I would have butchered it.
Yeah, goodness gracious.
Lord of mercy, Nathan.
Uh, my favorite, which I'm just not gonna ever pick against Scotty Scheffler, ever. It's asinine to pick against
I
him.
wanted to pick him, but I was like, man, everybody's picking him. I mean,
Well,
he's
sure,
the number
but
one player in the world.
sure, I will like my answer is Scotty Scheffler, but if you don't allow it, I'm going John Rahm.
Good pick.
Since leaving the PGA Tour, he's played in 18 live events.
He's on a heater.
And granted, there's only 54 guys in the field, but he has never finished outside of the top 10 in a live event since he's left. He's playing good golf. He knows how to win here. He's won here before 2 years ago. Give me John Rahm if you don't give me Scotty Scheffler. Either one. Either one. Don't care. My dark horse to win it. I love Russell Henley this weekend. And it's a combo. He grew up in Georgia. He went to Georgia. And Georgia guys have a phenomenal track record at Augusta. Bubba Watson's won twice. Patrick Reed's won once.
Larry
And
Mize.
Larry Mize, thank you. And Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson. He's playing. He made it. How did he get in?
Mr. Unlimited. Russell Henley finished in fourth last year, and he's put together a pretty good string of finishes the last few years at the Masters. And this is probably his best season on tour to date. He won was it the Arnold Palmer he won?
I think so, yes.
It was the Arnold Palmer, and he's just been playing good golf. This is arguably the best spring of his career. He's playing good, and he knows how to play good at this course. So I love me some Russell Henley. And the second one, Sepp Straka. Love me some Sepp. Which
So
that
you have two dark horses.
Well, sure, but I was just saying Sepp Straka.
I got a good one. Let's do this too.
Okay, so one favorite and two dark horses.
No. I'm fine with either one of those. I would say past champion of the past champions playing, who finishes the highest. So you've got Justin Rose, Adam Scott, Phil Mickelson, Fred Couples,
Danny Willett,
Mike Weir,
Jordan Spieth,
and who's retiring?
Scheffler and
Rahm. Who's retiring? Bernhard Longer is retiring. I didn't look to see.
Angel Cabrera, fresh out of.
Oh, he's back, fresh from the pen.
Hey, and guess what? He won the PGA Champions last week.
Let me see. I'm gonna get a whole list here, Harbin. I don't want to cheat you out of any. We've named several of them. Here's a list of former Masters champions in the 2025 field: Scheffler, Rahm, Hideki Matsuyama, Dustin Johnson, Patrick Reed, Sergio Garcia, Danny Willett, Jordan Spieth, Bubba Watson, Adam Scott, Charles Schwartzel, Phil Mickelson, Zach Johnson, Trevor Immelman. I don't think he's playing, is he? He's announcing.
Yeah.
Why do they have him listed as in the field? He's on CBS. Vijay Singh.
He is not playing.
I didn't think he was. Is he just done, or is he injured or something?
No, he was on the list to be in the field. Something may came up.
Mike Weir, and they also have Tiger Woods listed. He is not obviously playing. He has no Achilles in one of his legs. That's an unofficial list that AI produced.
Did you name Rory McIlroy?
I did not. Why is he not on there?
Oh,
They didn't list Fred Couples on here. He's playing. Bernhard Longer. I'm trying to see if anybody else was missing from that list. It looks like that's the list, except they left out Longer and Couples. So out of that list, who do you think finishes highest? I mean, this is probably not the quiz I thought. I was thinking like old guys, past champion.
So if you knock out, let's go ahead and throw out Scheffler, Rahm, and Hideki.
Okay.
Let's throw out those three.
Take out the last 5 years worth of champions.
Yeah. Well, is that including Dustin Johnson?
Well, I mean, he was 2020, so I guess you could say that, yes.
All right. So out of those.
So that leaves you Patrick Reed, Garcia, Willett, Spieth, Watson, Scott, Schwartzel, Cabrera, Johnson, Mickelson, Weir, Olafable, Longer, and Couples.
I love either Patrick Reed or Phil Mickelson. Phil's been playing some good golf, and
On the live, yes, he
and,
has.
and he finished. Didn't he finish top five last year or top 10?
I don't know.
I
I
think
don't
he
know.
did, or 2 years ago. I mean, he's still playing at a high level. Not even for his age, just at a high level. My answer is Phil Mickelson.
I always try to pick on that 6-man game we play. I always try to pick a former champion that has done it there. And this is the first year I really, besides Rom, I really didn't do that. Like try to pick an older veteran type guy, like a Mickelson or a Zach Johnson. I used to pick Fred Couples all the time because up until a few years ago, he was still making the cut, hanging around every weekend. I'm gonna go with why is Justin Rose not on this list? Is he not playing?
He has not won a Masters.
Oh, he won a sorry. He won a
That's probably
yes.
most of the reason why he's not
Yeah,
on that.
that was I'm thinking of something else. I'm gonna go with Spieth.
I love it. I love that pick, actually.
So
You know,
I'm Niece is taking Spieth.
he has the best scoring average per round in the last 10 years at Augusta.
That doesn't surprise me. He's always around. I mean, he's always in the top 10, 15 every year, feels like.
Yeah.
Who'd you say you were taking? Patrick Reed?
No, Phil Mickelson.
Oh, Mickelson. If Mickelson can hit the ball in the fairway and stay out of trouble, which I know he's been known for some Houdini type shots, but he can also get himself in trouble pretty easily. If he hits the ball in the fairway and hits fairways and greens, he might be there on the weekend hanging around in that top 10, top 15. You just never know when you get to Sunday.
Yeah.
Quickly, one big shout out. Carter Hornets beat the Gibbs Eagles tonight at Allen Grubb Field, 5-0 shutout victory. Big win for the Hornets. Not a district game anymore, but still a nice win. So shout out to them boys. Big win.
Good stuff, fellas.
Keep it up. I think they've only lost like 3 or 4 games this year, so they got a potential to make some noise in the postseason. We'll see. At least host some home games in the postseason. So, anything else before we go, Harb?
That's it. I think that's all we got.
Folks, enjoy the Masters. Golf all weekend. It's supposed to rain Thursday and Friday. No excuse not to watch golf on Thursday. Record it, DVR it, whatever you want to do. Watch it on Paramount Plus or the Masters app. There will be no work being done tomorrow by the majority of the nation on Thursday. um, so enjoy it. Update on the podcast here. We did launch, and I'm trying to get the word out to everybody. I know there's people out there that don't know that I've been at. Where are y'all at? Because they only listen to it on the audio version. Well, our account's still technically suspended. I was able to get in this past week, Harb, and create a new one. So I'm not going to back up and upload all the episodes because there's still a chance that we're in the appeal stage. There's still a chance that ours gets restored and all will be back to normal. But all those people that subscribed, I think there was around like 55 or 60 that had subscribed to the podcast on the audio version are no longer subscribed to that. So I'm trying to get the word back out that we have a new one. So if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to look us up on either Spotify or Apple Podcast or wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe to us there on the audio version so you can listen to us on the go. But if you watch us while you're at work on YouTube or at home or whatever, we're still there. Find us on YouTube, Section YY8 Podcast. All of our episodes are on there. And but help us out and spread the word about the audio version. Spotify, Apple Podcast. We're back on there, so you can listen to us in your truck, car, work apparatus, wherever you're at. But remember to like, Like, subscribe, share. Hit the button down low. I'll put it on the screen. Like, subscribe, share, comment on our YouTube. Tell us who you think will win the Masters. Oh, and one more shout out. Congrats to Thomas Raines. He won the bracket challenge. Unbelievable.
I didn't come in last, so I don't care.
It was Bell, wasn't it?
I think so, but I jumped a few people when Houston made the title game. So
So,
actually, that was my phone's dead now, so I can't look it up. But actually, my hater and losers of the week I was gonna list off every single name that finished below me in the bracket challenge.
well, I know Bell did because I looked it up the other day. And Bell was watching us on YouTube, Harbin, and his wife, I guess, heard you talk about him, and she was like, "Man, they're really giving you down the road, Travis."
Yeah, I got a text message over that.
I heard.
Yeah,
Let's see who finished below you, Harbin. Are you ready?
yeah. There's about 7 or 8 of them, I think.
I mean, there's some illustrious basketball minds on this list, which is shocking.
Yeah, I was gonna name them one by one.
I'll name them one by one. Let's call them out for. I mean, this is ridiculous. Tyler Julian,
Hater.
Josh Walker,
He's a loser.
Ethan Rimmer,
Hater
Ethan
and
Rimmer, Landry Stanton.
I can't. No, he's a hater.
He's
Yeah,
a hater.
yeah, he's a hater.
Nick Bernard,
Loser.
loser. Okay. Austin Hayes.
Oh, certified, bona fide hater and loser. He picked
And
Texas.
is AND capitalized.
What a bum.
Here's a good one. Nick Wade.
Yep, loser.
And rounding out the bottom 51 is Travis Bell.
You know, I'm gonna call him a winner.
So I'm not going to list mine. Let's see, Harbin, you finished.
I'm gonna call Bell a winner because he had last place for so long.
He had it for a long time, for several weeks.
He's a winner.
Harbin, you finished 43rd out of 51. At least you weren't last. I, on the other hand, somehow found my way into the top 30, finished 28th.
The Chalk Hawks won this year. Chalk Tua.
But shout out Thomas Raines coming in, total of 176. He picked Florida to win the national title, and he held off several others. There was, looks like 13. The top 13 all picked Florida. That included listeners of the show Eric Neese, Kevin Griff, Adam Osmond, Austin Godwin, John Doty, and Brett Stanton, and Josh Cox were some of the notables in that list. Oh, Big Montana's in here. I'm sorry, missed him.
You know what? All of them are haters and losers as well.
Because they picked Florida?
Solely for picking Florida.
Yeah, that is. I picked Duke. I'm not much better.
You're a hater and loser as well. It takes a real man of honor to pick Houston.
You know, I want to say this about the Final Four before we go. I said we were getting ready to leave, but I want to say this. My nightmare scenario was avoided. I text you all this. Auburn and Duke. It would have been nightmare scenario even if they just played each other for the national title. But if one of them would have won it, I would have never heard the end of it. My brother-in-law, Duke grad, Duke fan, he actually went to San Antonio for the semifinal game, was planning on staying if they won for the championship game. I don't think he did. I never really talked to him because I didn't want to poke the bear there. But I was going to go if Tennessee and Duke win. I was going to go down there and go with him. But obviously Tennessee didn't go. The other one was Auburn. And you know, everybody that listens to this show knows me, knows my cousin Reagan is an Auburn grad. And I just did not want to hear. I would have heard it more from the Auburn side than the Duke side, but nightmare scenario was Duke versus Auburn national title game. And I was like, thank God Florida and Houston won. because I would have not been happy watching Auburn and Duke play on Monday night. I would have been a loser either way because I would have had to heard, well, my team got there. Where was yours? Well, we lost in the Elite Eight. We finished fifth. Sorry. Sorry. Where was your baseball teams at?
What?
Anyways, sorry. We're getting really long here, so we're not going to continue down that road. So, all right, Harb. Great episode. Thanks for joining us. It's the midweek heat that we brought here to the listeners. I told Harb before we started recording, we will not record Sunday night. I will be at the Bristol Motor Speedway, I think, this Sunday afternoon for the Food City 500. So it'll be late when I get back. So won't be recording on Sunday. So I hope you all enjoy this show. We'll probably be back week after next, or maybe next Wednesday. Who knows? Who knows what's going to go on over the next few days? But appreciate everybody listening. Remember, help spread the word about the audio version of the podcast. Spotify, Apple Podcast, and obviously we're on the YouTube channel. Harbin, big day tomorrow of golf. Enjoy it.
I sure will.
Have a great week and a great weekend. And I'm Negative Niece, if you didn't know, and that is Harb. And we appreciate you listening to the podcast. Goodbye, friends, from the YY8 podcast.